compartments in the V-berth. And this is starboard that we're looking at right here, and over here is the port. Basically, all of this is just, looks like it's 1/4-inch plywood. And I'm going to tip one of these up and show you. 1/4-inch plywood. And what is on these, let me see. Okay, here you can see it. You know what that is? It's contact paper. It's contact paper on the back of regular 1/4-inch plywood, and then just screwed into place. And it looks nice, you know, kind of dressy when you put it on. Not nowhere near what I want on that boat. And so all this has been taken off, and along with, this is the cabinet door for under the sink and access to the plumbing and all kinds of good stuff underneath there. And this has a traditional door opener on it. See, it's it's a reach through, and you just reach in and pull this, and the latch pulls back and opens the door. Anyway, again, it's the same stuff. Basically, this is all just plywood. Now, it's thicker plywood, okay, but all of this is going to be replaced. I'm going to use the same hinges, same door opening, same reach through, all that, probably brand new screws, but all that is going to be completely rebuilt with real good quality mahogany plywood, and sealed. I'm going to be using a sealer on it, an epoxy sealer, and then varnish over the top of that. And by the time I get done, I think we're going to have a major interior upgrade. Actually, all of this is part of my winter refit inside the boat, without having to be outside the boat in the cold and the snow and all this kind of stuff. I can get inside and put it all together in there with the hatchway all closed up and the heater on, and work to my heart's content. The other thing that I did, there's one more compartment back in the aft cabin, and this is, you may recognize this. This was the old plywood piece that was on where the radio is now. And the other compartment on the port side was much shorter. It's not nearly as long as the compartment on the starboard side where the radio is. So what I did, by the way, the angles are identical. In other words, the angle, the forward and aft angle are identical. So what I did, I just cut this in half and collapsed it, and then lined it up inside the boat, and voila, this is absolutely going to be a perfect fit. Your angles are right. This is your forward angle. This is your aft angle that matches the back of the cabin. This is, instead of being instead of it being a cubby panel, though, this is going to be an electrical panel. And so I'm not going to be cutting out this big old opening here. What I'm going to do is have this set up and get my electrical components that I'm going to be using and inset them in here. One of them is going to be a battery monitor. Another one, I think I'm going to have a switch for the bilge pump. So anyway, that's what's going on. I'll maybe even a USB thing. They make those now, so it hitches into your 12 volt, and you can recharge your cell phone or whatever on the boat. So anyway, that's kind of all the interior work that's being taken apart, or has been taken apart, and it's all going back to Vermont. And I'm going to get my really nice quality mahogany plywood and start doing some cutting. Well, I went and picked up my $86 a sheet mahogany plywood. This stuff is gorgeous. I love this. This is matched grain here. I was very careful in ripping these. What I'm doing is replacing these old pieces of plywood, plain old plywood, covered with contact paper, which I've done in a previous video that talked about this. I'm replacing all this garbage stuff with real mahogany ply. This stuff is gorgeous. What I've got to do to get the thickness I want is to laminate, and so I'm going to be laminating. Actually, I hate to not show this side by side, because look at the matched flame on this is just beautiful, beautiful mahogany. Just, it's going to be so gorgeous when it gets all varnished up and really looking pretty. And I've got these wide, you know, these are obviously wider than these, because what I'm going to be doing is using these as a template on these pre-laminated sheets. And you know, I'll show you the actual thickness of this. This is there. You see there's two thicknesses there. What I've done, I've got under sheets that I don't care about the grain on this stuff. What I'm looking for is that are facing out. And so what we're going to have here by the time we get done is this will be port, this will be starboard, and they'll be matching in the forward cabin. And it's going to be really, really pretty stuff. And so cool, so cool. And the other cool thing, I brought my work table. I've had this table forever. It was given to my wife and I when we were on our honeymoon, believe it or not, by a dear friend who's passed away. It was his kitchen table, he and his wife's kitchen table, and I used it for many years when I was doing violin work. You can see all the saw marks right there from cutting bridges and working on violins. And anyway, so replacing all this junk, this plywood, you know, the contact covered plywood stuff, and it's going to go onto this beautiful, beautiful match flame mahogany. And going to be really pretty. I'm looking forward to it. But next step, I'll be doing some pictures, maybe doing some things tomorrow morning, show you how we get this set up. But I've got all these cut. These are, let me get these up here. I got a whole bunch of these that are going to be going down the length of this. Okay, all down through here, and then clamped down to the table. This is one of the reasons I brought this table in. Is so that I can clamp down, because it's got an edge underneath here. Then I'm going to be able to get my clamps on and do the whole thing together, and let the glue all completely set up. I'll probably do them one at a time. I may pull this out because I can do it on both sides. That's true. I could do that. Anyway, the point is, it's underway. This is my winter project, and all this stuff is going to be pre-laminated, and then these things are going to be used as templates and cut out those forms from this mahogany, and then those already completely done up and varnished and ready to go on. Pieces of trim are going to be going into the forward cabin when I get back down on the Cape. I called in all the reserves this morning. I got this clamped up bright and early, but just after 5 o'clock. But put a good, solid coat of aliphatic resin down on the bottom sheet of this mahogany, and then went to clamping. And by the way, I use this tool as a glue spreader. Boy, I mean, that works really nice. Just really nice and smooth. Make sure every little bit of the whole surface of that is all glued up. I mean, no, they're covered with glue. And then I went to doing the clamping. And the problem is, obviously, you know, when you're using a limited number of clamps, and initially I was, there were spaces where I was not satisfied that I had enough glue coming out. In other words, showing that I had a good thorough saturation of glue under the surface that was coming to the edges and getting a good adhesion. So anyway, I went out in the garage and I pulled in just about every clamp I have. I think I've only got 3 more bar clamps, and I'm down at my folks' house on the Cape. So anyway, but this is all glued up, and I'm really satisfied now. It's got a good bond all the way across here, and I think we're going to be in good shape. This is the way you want to see it. This thing is so clamped. I just went and bought 5 more clamps, small C clamps, and I'll tell you, with the clamps that I had and the clamps that I just bought, we now have really, really good saturation. I made sure that there's plenty of glue in there, and you look at this, and there's just not hardly a single space where does not have glue flowing out. I mean, that's good. That's good. That's exactly what we want to see. Well, the first cuts are made. This is all nicely done, if I do say so myself. I very carefully got the exact angle off from this, from the old original, the old templates, and set up my table saw with the angle all set. Got the cuts made. This one is, the second cut is, see, there's the line. I don't know if you, yeah, there it is. There's your line. That's taken from the back of the templates here. Those lines are all scribed in for tomorrow. I'm not messing with any more tonight. And then we'll do the front cuts later. Grab the angle off the front of the templates, transfer it over to the mahogany, and only at the very last will I take off the amount that we got to have exactly the same distance across here that you do across here. For right now, I always cut everything big so I can kind of work down, have all the material there that I can work from. So anyway, everything's just really nice and precise. I like it. I think it's going to come out great. One little boo-boo, and I don't know if, yeah, you can see this. See that little chip right there? When I pulled it across the table, so I got one chip out of the mahogany veneer. And just to show you how picky I am, I saved the slivers from it. And those slivers are going to very carefully get glued back in. I'm rather picky. So anyway, that's all going to get done. Anyway, and I think it's going to come out great. One thing I learned, cut this upside down. Get your angle right. Cut it upside down. That way you don't get that. I cut the first one right side up, and that's why I got the sliver. Cut the second one upside down, no slivers. So anyway, I bought a brand new plywood blade tonight, so I've got nice sharp plywood blade for cutting all of this. And I forgot to show you while I'm at it. This is all done. This is exactly, I don't know if I can show you here. Here's the template that I made on the cape of the electrical panel. And this, I mean, it is just precise. It is exactly the right shape and size. And you remember, this is not going to be a cubby panel. This is going to have electrical going through it. So what you see right here is all just going to get varnished out and looking real pretty. And then I'm going to put the new voltage meter for my battery and some switches in over here. I got a couple of things, probably a bilge pump, maybe one or two other switches that I'm going to put into that. So anyway, this is all very nicely done. All this needs right now is some varnish, and then have the instruments cut into it, which is I'm really glad the way this came out. I think it's going to look great on the boat. Anyway, going to match up very nicely with the one on the other side. All right, that's it for tonight, and tomorrow I'll get these other cuts made, and we're kind of almost in business. It's always a little bit more to go, and restoring an old boat, it's work, it takes time, but you got to do it slowly and carefully so that you get it right. Contrast, it's the contact paper covered plywood that was on the boat, and it's, yes, it's made to look like teak, but it's still contact paper, and it's still just plain old plywood. And then now we go to the mahogany, and multiple coats of really nice marine varnish, and it's gonna be just beautiful. So anyway, I'm just really looking forward to getting this on little girl and seeing how she looks. It's just gonna be so pretty. So anyway, just thought I'd take that picture. Give an idea to go from this, and matter of fact, this is the contact paper's even peeling off and breaking off in places. The only thing this is good for at this point is those screw holes. I'm going to put the screw holes right back, mounting the new panels with exactly the same screw holes, so I don't have to drill more holes in the boat. So I'm going to just lay this on top. This one right here goes with this. This is a starboard trim right here, and this is the old starboard panel. And so I'm just going to take this and lay it on top, and like I said, we'll clamp it and drill my new holes in there, and it'll all be good, and it's going to be really pretty going onto the boat. Well worth the time and the $86 worth of beautiful mahogany plywood. So anyway, there it is. That's for this time, and I'm gonna probably do one more on this segment, and then we'll finish up and show it on the boat when it gets there. Last two pieces of the puzzle, the last two pieces of trim. These just go just after the forward bulkhead. These are the small compartments in the V-berth. And anyway, the trim's all, this is all varnished up. Everything's done. 4 coats of marine varnish. Really, it's going to be a pretty thing. Anyway, these are all done. So I'm going to do one more little video of the setup for this, and that'll wrap up this one on all the varnishing and all the cutting and the piecing of all the gorgeous mahogany plywood that I bought. And next one is going to be putting it all on the boat when I go down for Christmas. But for right now, I'm really glad to have these last two little compartment trim pieces done. It's going to be beautiful. I'm really excited about this. I think that it's going to be a huge upgrade, a huge plus from where the boat started out with those ugly old contact covered paper pieces of trim work, teak trim work, quote unquote, not teak, but anyway, really glad to have these last two done.